The next couple of weeks are all about what's going to happen in the Middle East. You can put aside things like the earnings season, the decision by the Federal Reserve. Everything that's going on in the Middle East is so much more significant and has the potential to spiral out of control. I'm not saying it's not going to de-escalate, and I hope that it does, but everything I look at, everything is saying that this is only going to get worse before it gets much worse. And while all this is going on, very few people are keeping their eyes on what's going on with China and Russia, who are basically consummating the relationship now. There's some trade figures I want to get into about what's going on with China and Russia, while the rest of the world is focused on what they should be focused on, which is all the conflict in the Middle East. We're going to take a look at all this in this video today to give you the investor enlightenment that you need to protect yourself and the people that you care about.
At Peter Leeds, we're all about getting you profits quickly and easily. Please subscribe for more premium investor enlightenment.
Just before we get into how the exports from China have absolutely ballooned in terms of going to Russia, just before we get into that, I want to remind you guys to please click like, because that really helps us get our video out to more people, like-minded people like us, who will really benefit from the message we're trying to show you guys. Now, in terms of China's exports to Russia, they've reached $42.96 billion since January 2023. Which is a 75.6% increase compared to 2022. The numbers of total trade values and total exports have seen their biggest jump since the start of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, with Russia becoming China's fastest growing trade partner in the world. This is the last chance, my last announcement about this. The big Peter Leeds sale ends at midnight tomorrow night, Eastern Standard Time. You can get $50 off a 1-year Peter Leeds subscription, or $75 off the 33 Profit Patterns charting course, or $110 off the Peter Leeds Academy. This is lining up very much like Nostradamus said about 500 years ago, that China, Russia, Iran, Syria were going to be one team. The other team was going to be all the Western powers leading up to the Great Third World War. And I pulled out a quote from a book that I really wanted to show you something. This is from the Lexus and Olive Tree, Understanding Globalization, which was a book in 1999 by Thomas Friedman. But it was first published as an opinion piece in New York Times. In 1996, he was talking about the Golden Arches theory of conflict prevention. And what the book premised, or what the article premised, is that no two countries, which both have a McDonald's, have ever gone to war with each other. And I'm sure you understand this is not about McDonald's. It's about the financial connections between countries. It's very unlikely that you would want to go to war with a country that you have some kind of vested financial interest with them or entanglement with them. And I wanted to point that out because put it in terms of the BRICS nations that are trying to develop their own gold-backed currency, which, if they pull it off, will be superior to the US dollar or any other fiat currency on the earth. We've got South Africa, Brazil, India, China, and Russia coming together to try and make a new preferred reserve currency, and the financial entanglement between a bunch of countries that all share the same currency. But there's a lot of other things going on with war other than financial connections with other countries. People go to war, fight and die for certain reasons. Ideology, religion, that's a big couple of them. So if you have Syria and China and Russia on one side and you have Iran with them, they have Hezbollah and Hamas. And now we're dealing with wars on multiple fronts. 2 fronts right now, soon to be 3, very likely if things keep going the way they are. But I will say that right now, I've never seen America as a nation at such risk of losing its status in the world. We're losing some usage of the reserve currency. The petrodollar itself is being diminished in terms of Saudi Arabia selling oil and things other than the US dollar. That is only going to keep on building, not just them, but a lot of other countries as well. China and Russia are working together in their own currencies, which is the way they should always have done it, but it hasn't been the way that things have been done. That's why we got to export a lot of our inflation. We got to get a lot of extra growth that we wouldn't have had, where other countries basically supported our growth. America used to be the biggest exporter in the entire world, and now we've lost that mantle. Our exports are actually in decline, and they're very low. We've had more debt than ever, by far, more debt than anyone in the entire history of Earth has had, in terms of even the municipalities, in terms of the individual people, in terms of the corporations, in terms of the overall government. And these are actually unpayable and admittedly unpayable debts. They can't be mathematically paid. And that's why you're seeing the government's running out of money again, and they're trying to figure it out, even though they just dealt with this like 2 months ago, 3 months ago. the government's running out of money again, and they're going to keep running out of money again. I tell you this every time until they fix the underlying problem. The underlying problem being fiscal irresponsibility, where we're spending more money than we're bringing in. That's literally all you would need to do to fix this problem. However you look at it, the next couple of months are going to be absolutely pivotal in terms of where we're going to go as an economy and where we're going to go in terms of these military conflicts. And the next 2 weeks will be absolutely monumental for the Middle Eastern conflict. Specifically, what is Hezbollah going to do? What are they going to be told to do by Iran? And what are we going to do in terms of reaction to that? We've already got fighter jets in Italy. We've got US Marines getting ready, a couple thousand of them, for non-combat missions, whatever that means. We've got 2 aircraft carriers there. We've got assurances that we're going to back Israel no matter what. This email just came in from John this morning. I read invest in penny stocks. There's a strategy, the volatility plays. I've been very consistently making a decent living in this strategy for nearly 12 years now. I normally make easily over $5,000 a month, nearly every month. So anyway, here's my thinking. I don't think that anyone, in my opinion, should sell anything to do with gold or oil right now. There's a downside. Maybe things cool down, and I hope that they do. Maybe things settle down a bit, and then say oil prices come down or gold prices come down. That's a limited decline, even in the best case scenario. However, there's so many things that could happen within the next couple of weeks even that could send oil or gold prices absolutely soaring. The risk is minimal, in my opinion. The reward is absolutely monumental. That's why what I'm doing personally is I'm keeping gold investments, oil investments, whether that's physical silver and gold, physical precious metals, or the mining companies, or the oil production companies. I do not think that right now is a time where anyone should be trying to take a profit or trying to adjust their holdings. You should already be set up in a way where you're already in position in some of these assets, which would increase in price dramatically given a horrible situation for people, which is more important, of course. But I'm just saying, you play the cards you're dealt. You want to be invested. If you're invested in something, I'd be more cautious with these speculative stocks, high multiple stocks, high price earnings multiples. Look for companies that are defensive companies like utilities and dividend paying, and even some treasury bonds for the very short term. And I like oil and gold companies for long-term investment right now more than I have since I've ever even been on YouTube.